back live from Los Angeles. We have the extraordinary singer, songwriter, composer, and producer, Sebastian Izambard. I want to pronounce that correctly. You know him more as Sebdivo is what you know. That's how I know him.
Yeah.
I'm like, let me see if I can pronounce your last name. It's never going to happen. Everyone knows me. I can't remember anyone's name, so that's just not
I can't even remember my birthday.
Great. I
So don't
know,
worry.
right? And so glad you're here.
Thank you for having me. It's wonderful to talk about something that's different than just music in general. I feel like life has so much to offer, and I'm grateful to be here. It's a wonderful opportunity for me.
But you've learned so much about life through your music.
Yeah, music saved my life. Music was my best friend, was my therapy. But, you know, somehow, and I don't want to say but because it's not a nice word, and I would say that I'm lucky that in my life I found a purpose, and I find why I was put into this world. Music was an amazing therapy. Music was not enough, but music was just a channel between God and myself.
Right. So
you know, it's like,
let's go back. Let's tell a little bit more of the actual story. So you've had obviously great success, incredible success, like 28 million records sold. You've had ups and downs, highs and lows in your life. Take us a little bit through the journey.
what brings me to recovery in life is trauma. You know, I think a lot of us who are in this path have had trauma. It's rare to find somebody who's traumaless. And I chose in my life not to stay a victim. You know, what happened to me in childhood, and my parents did the best they could then, and I love them, and I, forgive them for everything that has happened. And I feel like I could either stay stuck in my life and always take a back seat and being the passenger of my life, or drive my own car and said, you know what, let's move forward and let's forgive the past. And that's kind of what was my journey. I had a difficult childhood, and I didn't want to stay enslaved into my past.
But you drove that car to the #1 spot on the French pop charts. I mean, that is incredible.
Yeah, I'm very blessed. I'm very lucky. I worked really hard, but at the end of the day, as I said, I had lost faith because of that trauma, and I always wanted to be in control of everything and everyone because it was how I survived, and it was my safety.
So what was that moment? What was the moment where you went, I'm going to do whatever it's going to take to transform those hard times, that trauma, into the light? What was that?
Well, I think few moments in my life where I had to be on my knees, and you know, it was like life and death, where I thought, I'm not worth it. I'm just, you know, I remember being in Turkey and thinking, you know, we were touring, and then what's the point? And I'm useless to the community. And that's where I realized that something had to change for me. And I never talk about this ever. And I think it's always about, especially in my business, looking good, always being okay, being right, control, medicating the pain, all this kind of thing for me. And I had to let go of all of these because it's image driven, right? And it's not true. And I think actually we're very lucky. We're in that time where it's changing and evolving, and everyone's ready to drop that mask and show, you know, I'm definitely willing not to say I'm perfect. I'm so imperfect, but I'm just noticing it, and I can, you know, manage my life with it. And I have tools today where, you know, I can just tune in with myself and know that it's off, or I can reset my day. I can do things differently.
So what is that? I know I don't want to get too deep into how exactly you do that, but what kind of tools do you use personally to keep your mind right, to stay in tune with faith and keep it right?
Well, the first one is my powerlessness over myself. You know, I know that I have adaptation of life that has never worked for me. And it's always a challenge because I'm fighting with myself. That's what I said. It's like my brain is telling me, and I'm not blaming my brain, like it's part of me, but kind of like, what are you doing to me? I have the shitty comedy talking all the time up there, right? And telling me, oh, do this, do that. And actually, it's the challenge of knowing that the story that I write in my life, you know, I'm like, oh, tomorrow it's going to be like that, or in an hour there's going to be traffic when I'm going to head back home. Who knows? I don't know. But just being in the moment and just being okay with what if makes my life completely easy. I don't have to fight my crazy ideas, or I don't have to write my stories or be angry with the past. I just have to be in this moment right now and be, it's great. We're breathing, we're having an amazing time. Like, what else?
So true. So true.
I was just going to ask you, how are you feeling now, today, in these moments when you wake up?
I feel so happy. I mean, I feel that the moment I'm opening my eyes and I'm breathing, as I said to you before, that's a blessing. That's the first thing I have to notice.
So-
that breathing is not a given.
Your album is really all about love. I mean, it's like we are here for love. What you talk about how the songs all were inspired from places you went around the world, things you saw, kind of the lessons, the takeaways. Tell us a little bit about that inspiration for the songs.
Well, love should be spread like Nutella.
You got one of your videos up.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And the same thing, it's all about nature, because I didn't want any fancy car, this, that. To me, it's not about that. It's actually the earth, like what's, from the ocean to the earth. We receive the love. Love is everywhere. God is everywhere. It's showing up in every forms to me. It's here right now. When we're aligned with the truth, when there's no BS, there's no, any of that, I find that the enlightenment, and that is giving me just the power to inspire people. I mean, I feel like that's what we're here for in life, is to regain the light that we've always had within ourselves, and that's what I'm talking about in my songs. And
Love that.
finding that again, putting that fire again, and inspiring people. But inspiration doesn't come from a selling point of view or a forcing thing, right? Where you have to convince someone. I think when I'm inspired, it comes naturally to anybody, right? But when I'm not, when I'm trying to sell something, that's the image, and that's where it's not true. So it's about finding the truth all the time. And, it's not perfect for me, but I'm close to God, so I feel like I'm close to my life.
I love that.
So interesting. I just love your perspective, and it resonates with me so deeply, because that's been my experience in my life. When I was young, I was wanting to be in control, of course, and as I got older, I was like, I'm not in control of anything, and the things that I did control turned out really, really badly. So maybe I should give that game up, So I let go, and things just sort of improved on their own. But the challenge often for me was like, well, what do I believe? What do I have faith in? And trying to sort and sift through my beliefs in God and religion and spirituality was very confusing for a very long period of time.
Right.
For you, how did you get clarity around that? Was there always a sense of clarity in terms of what you believed, what you had faith in, or is it something that you had to work through?
And I thank you for sharing your experience, and I so relate to what you just said early on. For me, and that's a great question, because for me, finding God was a very strange thing. For me, I couldn't see God on the cross. I mean, I had so many bad experiences with loss as a child. Why is there a God? Like, the good people die and the bad people are still alive. What is that? I had a lot of anger with God and how it looked like for me. And I think it was resistance. The bottom line, it doesn't matter what it looks like, right? It's a God of my understanding at the end of the day. But actually, I really see God as the way, that I understand it. And whether it's Jesus, for me, it's a mix of everything. It's like Buddha, Jesus, this, that.
Totally.
It's all mixed together. But it's about like living consciously. It's almost that, like not living in the lie, not living in the denying part of my brain, but just being, all right, I screwed up. Okay, that I did that. Okay, all right, God. You want, if I do it my way, it just doesn't work. Yeah, and then God says, you want to do it your way, do it. And I'm like, deep down in the mud, and I'm like, okay, I get it. Okay.
Aaron
But I
always
make
says
mistakes
to live
every
your
day.
truth.
Yeah,
You live your truth.
Exactly.
Your truth.
Your
Exactly.
truth.
Yeah. And it's not easy, because that's the hardest part of myself, right? Because there was so much shame as a child that I've always had to have that barrier, and protection.
I had an epiphany right now. It's so interesting, because we were talking before about how your El Divo sold millions upon millions, and you had this other album that's come out that has been successful but hasn't sold that many, and he's been like challenging around kind of where is that receptivity in the world. And I was thinking for a minute, I was like, this is the faith. This is the faith. Like, you put out something that is your highest expression of art, what's from your heart, your truth, and it has been received by so many, and maybe not as many as the other album, but it doesn't matter, because the point is this: is that it is a faith, and that's like maybe the biggest blessing for us is when we're doing like the show, and what we're doing sometimes isn't received exactly how we want it to be, but it's actually perfect because it's what's giving us our practice to stay in faith and live that truth.
Yeah, and that
Like-
just that's where we feel like when we're aligned in this moment, it's about giving back to the community what
Yeah.
we've really received.
Right.
When we get that, I feel like, wow, that's amazing that we can inspire someone in despair. I mean, I've had I did a workshop, if I can talk about it quickly. That was an amazing experience. I can't really. Feel free to ask me on Instagram, Sebdivo. I'm happy to share that. I'm not meant to share the name of the program, not because it's secretive, but just that's the ethic. But we went hugging people on a pier like that in Venice, and I was in suit, and people looked at me like, and they didn't know what I was doing, but they looked at me thinking, "What is this crazy guy
running
in
away
a suit on the
Trying to hug
beach?"
me.
Yeah.
And then what I've noticed the most is, first of all, is all these people, because I get caught into my stories, or I don't want to be approached, or I'm unavailable, I'm on my phone. So it's really good to notice that I am everyone, and I can criticize or be judgmental. But more so, there was a person that was really angry, as I was trying to connect with that person, just because it was about me noticing that I have to create that connection with people. That's my role. That's what I'm here to in life. And then that person was rejecting me, but I stayed like this, and actually he came forward and opened up like no one did, and he was the one that was needing the most the connection, but didn't know how to express that, and that was amazing.
So powerful.
So true.
One of the things that we believe very firmly here on the show is about being, we're love focused and we're community powered. And a huge part of that, I know for me personally, is a commitment to something that's invisible. So love is invisible, and I don't know if I'm going to get it back. Faith is the same way. It's like a commitment and intention that you set, and you have to almost wipe out everything in the external environment that suggests you shouldn't be loving people or you shouldn't have faith because things aren't going to work out. And so I love, love, love your dedication, your commitment to continue to be love and to be full of faith despite how things are turning out in the world. Because we need people like you.
For sure.
Thank you.
For sure.
Where can people follow your journey?
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Where can people follow your journey?
Well, on my Instagram, Sebdivo, that's kind of what I feel like my purpose is now. I mean, it was so driven about music, but I would love to find a way where my music is healing. And I see that backstage people say they have a cancer, or they don't have friends, and that helped them to build a community. But yeah, definitely on Instagram, I try to put inspirational quotes and talk about something in the day.
So good.
Find the time to inspire just one human being is more than
So
enough.
good.
Well,
Well,
you
unfortunately, we're
inspired
running out of
us.
time. We want to invite you back for a
For
longer
sure.
interview. We
For
love
sure.
your story. We love everything you're up to. And they can find your music also there. If they go to Instagram, they can click on the bio link there.
For sure.
Okay,
It
good.
will.
And your website?
SebastianIsambard.com or ildivo, ILDIVO.com.
Okay, good. So excited. We
Thank
love your
you.
story so
Thanks
much.
for
So
having me, guys.
thank you for
You're
taking the
amazing.
time here.
Thank
So
you.
stay tuned, you guys. We'll be right back.